So, dear Dhamma practitioners, this is our ongoing meditation session. So, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed one, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes from the beginning to be very clear with the practice we do here. So, there were 3 friends gathered and they were planning to do a kind of like a long meditation session, sitting. So they came to agreement not to talk each other for a kind of like 2 hours, 3 hours, just sitting. So then they start to practice, and then like within 1 hour, no anybody talking and everything goes smooth and every getting to kind of like so calm, relaxed mood. And one practitioner start to feel the joy, and then he forgot the rules of the game. Because in the beginning, they decide not to talk each other. So somehow he forgot the rules. And with the happy mood, he start to talk and tell, oh, we're doing very good, And by hearing that, the second friend, and now he remembered the rules. And he knew that one of his friends broke the rules. And then he opened his mouth and told, you break the rules. We decide not to talk. And then few minutes went, and then now two friends broke the rules. They both talk. And the third one, and felt himself more and more happy, comfortable. And, oh, I am the only one keep doing this very well. And now his joy and happiness came and pop up. And suddenly he told, oh, I am the only one doing very well. And finally, before the session end, all the three of them, failed to keep the rules. So when it comes to meditation, you have to know the rules and you have to follow the rules. It's like playing a game. Everybody like to win, but each and everybody should know, all the players should know what should not do during the play, during the game. That means not to break the rules, because if you break the rules, you can't win. So when it comes to our mental practice the same. This is a way kind of like a training our mind, because without training, we can't get into that deeper state. So when it comes to the very purpose of this, we have to remember underneath these 5 hindrances, you have a very pure mind. It's kind of like a universal mind. So our purpose in the beginning to go into that pure level of your own mind. So out of that 5 hindrances. So I'll get out of the 5 hindrances. So with our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, we accumulated a lot of memory, and now it got dust. Our mind got cloud. So because of that, we can't access to that pure level of our awareness or the mind, or we don't have the clarity. But remember, it is there. So when you get into that, to train your mind in a certain way, you have to have the effort. It's like a training a horse. Just you have a horse, and just giving it, food and, take care of the horse doesn't mean that horse can run very well. So horse, you have to keep, running and mastering the horse to run. And that is how then by the time horse can run. Otherwise, even though it is a healthy horse, doesn't mean that horse can run very well. So all the animals the same. Even the dogs, for the hunting. And sometimes, this horse, there are dogs that can find the drugs, explosive. But every dog can't do that. But even though dog has that capacity, you have to train the dog to find it. So same like us, that even though you have that pure level of the pure state of your mind, without training yourself, you can't get into that. So that the method of training in a certain way we call meditation. Another way we mention it as a cultivation of the mind. So the cultivation of the mind means bringing that pure level to upper level rather than keep it on the bottom. Get out of all the 5 hindrances and uplift in that pure level to your surplus level of awareness is a kind of like a cultivation of mind. So for that, even though there are many techniques, there is a very simple, very difficult technique in the beginning you have to practice. And that is what called just sitting, doing nothing. And sometimes people don't agree to practice meditation because they say, oh, doing nothing, it's wasting time. What's the point just sitting? But if you look very carefully, mastering doing nothing and just sitting is very difficult. Because we have a habit deeper inside us, always interfering with something. That interference, behind that interference with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, with your bodily, verbally, mentally action, that interference, it is just not a very simple way of interference. The most of time your all actions come with the current, with the help of the very egocentric, self-centered mind to overtake the situation. We don't see that. We think we do something. So that's why this just sitting or doing nothing is very difficult for us. So if you are capable to withdraw from the action, you need to have the deeper practice to do that. Otherwise, you can't. So as you know, in Zen meditation, when it comes to meditation, there are different schools and different windows. There are different paths. So the Zen is one of the major, the path that came out of the high mental powers, which we call the jhana. Jhana, dhyana, jhana, chan, and it became Zen. So in that Zen meditation, there is a different meditation called Sikantasha. So the Sikantasha means just sitting. So basically, if it is just not the physical practice. So when it comes to just sitting, it's deeply mean by that doing nothing. Another thing is effortlessness. Because we have this always efforting, this effort, keep coming inside us to do something. Just look into yourself. Always. It's like a river. It's like the fire. Always it keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. And even sometimes we don't know from where it comes. And sometimes we have a deeper habit to go with that current and always interfering to something, even mentally or physically. So now you come to the point, the physically you become very neutral, and at the same time, mentally, withdrawing from all the ideas or the thoughts or the interference. So the bringing the ability to get access to that pure level of your awareness. Because this boiling mind happen out of the 5 hindrance most of time. And it is very critical sometimes, because that doing nothing or the sitting itself can trigger the 5 hindrance itself also. So that's why you have to have the deeper awareness to withdraw from your mental interference, chatting, your mental conversation. So when it go into that, what you can see, it always depends with the past experience and the dreaming and the desires. So this past experience and have something that in it within yourself, that all the past experience deeply connected to the feelings. So whatever you went through, that you felt something. That memory can trigger that feelings. So when the feelings trigger, it start to get into the kind of like the visualization and bringing it back and create it again and again and again. So in that level, if you allow it to happen, and you have no idea of it, where it go. So you can't allow it to happen. So only the human mind has capacity to navigate it and divert it to in a certain level and get out of it and transform to a better level rather than go with it. So, but when it comes to that, the feelings, so it go with the mainly to bring it high or make it neutral. So in the very conventional life you see most of time that the people always try behalf of the good life, behalf of the happy life, behalf of the very successful life. The most of time what the people try to do, they try to minimize the pain and maximize the pleasure. But when it comes to meditation, it's totally different, because minimizing pain and the maximizing pleasure is mostly the physical interference. But if you go into the very pure level of your mind, it's a completely mental experience, and you slowly withdraw from your previous memory or the sensation or the feelings, and there is no any kind of pain or pleasure activation. It's come to a kind of like a very complete neutral balance of experience. So in that level, your sharpness, your clarity going to become so in kind of like 100% clear. In that level, what you see, not going to flip or the change by any kind of emotions. So that is the state that you have to develop within the tranquility state. So for that, sometimes our own mind, our own thoughts can become a greater hindrance. So then when you practice meditation, it's work with yourself and withdraw from the mental activities is one of the major important part. So we get the help out of the primary mental object, but at the same time, behind this all, you have to know this science and how to just sit and doing nothing. So when it comes to that relaxing, calming, and settling down and find the physical mental balance, that all included. So if you bring too many things to your practice, you can't do, you can't get into that. So then remember, that's why when it comes to primary mental objects, so you have to be with that from the beginning. And sometimes your logical mind can come and argue with you. Oh, how it can happen? Just observing this, how it can happen. But in the beginning, you can't answer to that. In the beginning, you have to master calming down. It's like, when the very beginning, we play the baseball, and sometimes the coach tells, just hit the ball. So, but at the same time, when there's a, the very good player, when they swing the bat, it's just not just hitting the ball. It has a way to move the shoulders and the hips and how you keep the foot, keep the ground, the balance, the breathing and the energy, how your elbows, this everything. But in the beginning, if you try to do that all, you miss the ball. So that's why in the beginning, you have to come to the point just to hit the ball. And once you master, once you can clearly see the ball, you are capable to master little by little, that all other things. So that's why in the beginning, even though that when it comes to Vipassana level, logical, analytical, critical mindset, in the beginning, you can't do that. That's the point you have to understand. Don't try from the beginning. Why? Because then you bring that all this conventional level of thoughts related to all the 5 hindrances. And you use the 5 hindrances and you maximize the strength of the 5 hindrances rather than slow down it. So that's why from the beginning, develop the tranquility state and practice with your sitting and come to a very clear point to harness with the primary mental object. Don't allow this inside nature, this inside current to overtake the moment. So that way, little by little, in the beginning, you will calm down. So once you have that calmness, you are capable to go into deeper, because when the mind interferes with something, you can't get into another thing. Just as example, the very famous method. Don't think about monkeys. You can't do it. Why? Because not to think about a monkey, you have to bring a monkey to your mind. So then already monkey is there. So like that, sometimes in our life, we do that the same mistake for the loving kindness. To have the loving kindness regarding an angry person, we bring that angry person. not the person. We bring that angry person to our mind and start loving kindness meditation. It doesn't work. Why? Because you replace the anger first. So like that, when the mind interferes with something, even though we want, it's that we can't get into another thing with the same thing holding in our mind. So that's why this doing nothing, that, come to a very complete neutral place, the void from all the actions is very nice. That's why the sitting is important. And sometimes, because sometimes there are people, mention many times, oh, you don't need to sit for meditation. Oh, of course, if you are, if you are a master, if you train how to do, you don't need to sit. And sometimes just looking from outside and say, what is this? You don't do anything. How you can, become more better person just not doing anything. So that is the science for that. Remember that doing a lot of things doesn't mean we're going to become better. No, doing a lot of things can make us more crazy. And doing a lot of things make us failure. And when we do a lot of things, end of the day, we get so tired and it kills your creativity. If you don't have enough rest, once you get tired, your body collapses. And then after that, when you get tired and your mind start to go, out of the balance, and all the things start to see in different ways. So that's why sitting is very necessary, especially from the beginning. And if you want to go deeper into level, train yourself and try to develop the practice. Another thing is avoid from situations, mental interference, all that, the inner chattering. And get out of that all, just come to very clear point to observe and see the primary mental object. And when you see in that level, when you go into deeper level of vipassana, what will happen? So only practice point of view, I just tell you. And so when you come to meditation, don't try to think and experience it. But in day-to-day life, I will give this technique. So in day-to-day life, and in a very conventional life, you can little bit apply and see how it works. So when it comes to very deeper level, once you come to that pure level of your deeper level, awareness in your mind, once you get out of the 5 hindrances, when you clearly have the capability to sit and doing nothing, and when you are capable to develop critical, analytical, logical mindset, which we call the vipassana, this is what happened. Your death and your life, you're not going to understand separately. Your death and your life, you take both as one. It sometimes to digest that you need time, So that's the deeper level of that, all the, even in the Zen, all the samurai, that's the method. And when it comes to that Chan style, that is the deeper level of the method. And even when it comes to high mental power, so in the vipassana level, that is what happened to you. So just imagine yourself, when the death and the life both become same, what will happen to you? And I will make it more simple for you. When it comes to a day, there is no morning afternoon, evening, or night for you. It's just a day. And when it comes to people, it's not a kind of like elder, young person, teenager, or old person. It's kind of like that. It's all human. When it comes to society, it is not a kind of like a American, African, European, Asian, kind of like that. It becomes whoever in front of you, you're going to accept that as a human being. And when it comes to the world, it is not, you don't go with the country. You take that everybody as a part of the world. And when it comes to people, it's not the black or the white. You don't take like that way. And when it comes to the gender, you don't go with that. Oh, this is man, this is a woman, kind of like that. You take this all as human beings. Because in very conventional life, we always understand things separately. We separate things to accept. That separation comes out of our pain and pleasure. When you want to maximize the pleasure, minimize the pain, the separation regarding your experience going to become so high. When the separation becomes so high, you become so detached from the reality, because that separation created by out of the deeper desires related to the feelings. So then anymore you are not the very natural, the person exists in you. You completely caught up in a different level of mindset related to 5 hindrances. So your pure level of awareness you miss. So it's not going to disappear. It miss means disconnect. It is there, but because of this pattern, this method, you are not capable to get access to that. So then whatever you experience, you miss the reality. So that when it comes to the very vipassana levels, to the critical, analytical, logical mindset, so the deeply you get out of that, the subject point of view get out from the experience. The observer itself become neutral. And that is where your experience become free from that all the patterns, the methods. So anymore you are not become a bias to your consciousness. Otherwise, most of time, we are biased to our own consciousness or awareness or understanding. So that is why we say, oh, this is the way I think, this is what I believe, this is what my experience. What is that? You are a bias to your own consciousness. But in the vipassana level, you get out of it. So that is the method. So in day-to-day life, you can just little bit try yourself. Can you experience your life like that way? So you have to be a little bit careful with the society, because the society build up out of that all the separations. All that is where all the rules and regulations, the methods, patterns, the build up. So as example, gender. When you want to use the restroom, so there is a male, female. So if you go there and you forget about male, if there is no male, female, and if you go to male Or if you are a female, if you go to the male side, or if you are a male, if you go to the female, you are in big trouble. And sometimes, and when you go to the hotel, or to eat outside, maybe the lunch menu, breakfast menu, dinner menu, it's totally different. And then if you go and tell, forget about the lunch, or so it is just food, so bring me food. It doesn't work for the conventional life. But in the deeper level, it's just food. That's the ultimately you look for. So like that, conventional life means all the separations, divisions, the colors, the pictures, the method, the measurements, the time, space. That's everything governed in this, with the ideas. And that all, remember, that all come out of to minimize the pain and maximize the pleasure. That's where that we measure our success, good life, happy life out of that. But whoever hear this, you and me, we take a different path. So that path is called the very ancient path. That road is called the very ancient road. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters went through that path. But that doesn't mean everybody need to go in that path. When it comes to look, people go in different directions. So it should be your independent choice. And then, so don't pull or push others. It's nothing to do with that anybody. This is yourself. You walk in this path. So in this path, you're not going to satisfied with the outside pain or pleasure, desires. It's more, even though we live in the conventional life, we have to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But remember, ultimately, our purpose is going to the deeper level, that pure level of awareness. And it is there. It's inherent by us, this human life. So moment by moment, through your practice, and little by little, step by step, keep move towards that. So that's why, whenever you have time, that sitting and doing nothing and practicing little by little, this calmness, that withdrawing from inner mental chattering and interference, is build up a great strength in you to go it deeper. So with that, we're going to practice a little bit now. So our primary mental object is observing the sensation of our inhalation, exhalation. So in the beginning, we recognize inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. So, but by the time you just connect it to the sensation, once you connect it to the sensation, you get out of that separation. So it is not you doing by yourself, it is whatever happened through the sensation, you just recognize it. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit. So your right palm on your left and neck, head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think, We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. So in the beginning, deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chamni sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Imaya dhammano dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi. Attaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribundissami. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.